One rule shadowed the road out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Don't look back. She did. And that single turn wrote her name in salt. Night loosens its grip over the plain. 4 figures move. Lot, his wife, 2 daughters. Shadows stitched to the edge of town. A single instruction trails them like a quiet detective. Do not look back. The words are simple, almost too simple for a city that loves complexity. Yet in the stillness, that one rule is the difference between a path and a trap. Genesis chapter 19, verse 17. Now run for your life. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere on the plain. Run for the hills, or you'll be swept away. Welcome back, agents of wisdom. New here? Tap subscribe and stay with us. No looking back. Ever wondered where Sodom and Gomorrah were located? They were cities, though the exact locations aren't certain. Likely on the southeastern side of the Dead Sea. Let's dive into this story designed to keep you intrigued, thought-provoked, and self-reflective. The outcry was grave. It reached heaven. People were being hurt. Sin was severe, and God was displeased. The charges stacked up against the cities. Pride, comfortable selfishness, ignoring the poor, and sexual immorality. Ezekiel 16:49, Jude 7. Mercy searched for 10 righteous. The streets couldn't supply them. At Lot's door, a mob tried to overpower the visiting strangers. Hospitality became a threat. This was open, aggressive sin. Genesis 19:4-9. Sexual sin was part of the culture. It helped drive the violence and made the city unsafe. Jude 7. But God handled it with order. I will go down and see. Genesis 18:21. If 10 righteous people were there, the cities would be spared. 10 names could have saved them. Genesis 18:23-32. But not even 10 were found. The outcry was real, the harm ongoing. But judgment, it was coming, and it was coming fast. Get Lot's family out quickly. Keep them moving forward. No looking back. At dusk, 2 angels entered Sodom like plainclothes detectives with a sealed order. They came to Lot's house. They looked like ordinary men until they spoke. Get up. Take your wife and your daughters. Leave now. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere in the plain. Escape to the hills. The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great. Destruction is certain. They asked, do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law? Anyone in the city? Get them out. Lot warned his sons-in-law, but they thought he was joking. Night tightened around the house. 2 visitors, the angels who appeared as ordinary men, were inside Lot's home. Men from every part of Sodom, young and old, crowded the street and surrounded the door. They shouted for the visitors to be brought out to them. Lot stepped outside, shut the door behind him and begged, please, my brothers, do not do this evil of sexual immorality. The crowd pressed harder and surged to break the door. The angels reached out, pulled Lot back inside, shut the door, and struck the crowd with sudden blindness. They kept groping for the doorway until they wore themselves out. The mob thought the visitors were just men, but heaven knew they were angels. This public violence showed exactly why judgment was coming. Morning approached. Lot hesitated, so the angels seized the hands of Lot, his wife, and his 2 daughters, mercy in action, and led them out of the city. Outside the gate, the command sharpened. Escape for your life. Don't look back. Don't stop in the plain. Head for the hills. Why leave? Danger was immediate. Separation from a culture under judgment was mandatory, and obedience was the only safe path. Lot pleaded, the hills feel too far. Let us run to Zoar, a small town. The angel agreed. I grant this request. Hurry. I cannot do anything until you reach Zoar. Agents of wisdom, pause with me for 5 seconds. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. We're excited to see God's word reaching across vast horizons. Is God pulling your hand to move you out of a bad place? Is he helping you leave, but you keep focusing on the past and drifting back? This is your reminder. Keep your eyes forward. Do not look back. Obedience guards your eyes. On a previous night, Abraham stood beneath a field of stars like a seasoned advocate, a careful attorney choosing his words. He made a bold request. Do not sweep away the righteous with the wicked. If there are righteous inside the city, spare the whole place for their sake. Then he set the numbers on the table. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Each time the Lord answered, yes, I will spare it. 10 names could have saved 2 cities, but dawn tells the truth. The streets could not produce 10. The outcry was real. The harm continued. Judgment was coming, measured, not rash. Abraham wasn't asking God to ignore sin. He asked for mercy if a faithful remnant remained. Mercy surged first. Judgment signed only what truth had already written. Even so, intercession mattered. God remembered Abraham and brought Lot out. But mercy did not cancel the command. On the road, the angel said, hurry. I cannot do anything until you reach Zoar. Mercy can slow the clock. It never lowers the standard. Forward to Zoar. Do not look back. Dawn bled into the valley. Dust rose. The family ran toward Zoar, small town with a big assignment: survival. The angel urged, hurry. I cannot do anything until you reach Zoar. The order was simple and unbent. Eyes ahead. Keep moving. The bargain shortened the distance. It did not lower the standard. The route was plain. City behind, valley beneath, Zoar ahead. The sun climbed. Lot entered Zoar. Inside the city, safety. Outside, judgment. Forward feet, backward focus, grave danger. First light reached the gate of Zoar. Lot crossed in. The girls followed. His wife was one step behind. The plane answered. A low tremor underfoot, then a hard white flash on the rim of the world. Fire and burning sulfur fell from the sky over Sodom and Gomorrah. Heat rolled like a wall. Day went copper. Streets buckled. Roof lines dropped. Courtyards burst into flame. The valley tore open and breathed smoke. Lot pushed deeper into the town. The daughters clutched their bags. Doors cracked. Faces hid. Dust stung. No one spoke. His wife, just short of the gate, slowed. A breath. A heartbeat. She turned her head. Barely. The air locked. Light pinned her outline. Muscle became mineral. Breath became nothing. Where she had stood, a white pillar rose, salt blazing in the new sun. Morning climbed. Zoar held its breath. A hinge ticked. Footprints cooled on the lane. Out on the plain, a black column lifted, like the smoke of a furnace, and kept rising. The wind carried the taste of salt. She looked back. She was disobedient. Disobedience turned her into a pillar of salt. Far off in the high country, Abraham stood at dawn and looked toward the valley. He saw the smoke tower and said nothing. Inside Zoar, survival, protection, safety. Outside, fire, salt, and silence. 10 names could have spared 2 cities. The valley is quiet now. The warning was fair. The orders were clear. Remember Lot's wife. Luke 17:32. She disobeyed. She looked back. Don't be Lot's wife. When God says, go forward, lingering attachment to the past can turn deliverance into disaster. God's rules protect us. Don't look back is a guardrail, not a grudge. God's commands are seatbelts, not shackles. Guard your gaze. Where you look is where you go. Travel light. If God says leave it, leave it. Mercy gives time, but obedience decides the outcome. Eyes forward. Do not look back. Think on this. If God gave one instruction to guard your future, what habit would you drop today? What are your modern Sodoms, places, feeds, circles that pull you backward? Why did Jesus say, remember Lot's wife, when he spoke about being ready? What would change if for 7 days you refused to look back? Agents of Wisdom, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Tell us where you're watching from. Drop your country in the comments. Type 3 words so we can cheer you on. No looking back. Share this with one person who needs a fresh start. Next Sunday, End Times, Signs returns. Until then, stay curious and don't look back.